I went from being a homeschool mom to being now an empty nester with no job, no schedule, no one needing me all day. And I had to think about, how do I now honor God with this new time freedom? I don't think I'm the only one who's in that boat. I'm sure if you're not landing on this video because you are already in that boat of empty nesting it, and not sure what to do, then you're looking forward to it. Like at some point, you potentially, if you have kids now, you will be an empty nester. I am uniquely a stay-at-home empty nester with no job and no great demands on my schedule. So the question is, how do I honor God with that? That's what I have to answer for myself. And I'm doing this video and doing this channel even just to have a way to sort of journal my way through that process and hopefully get some community of other women who are in the same boat, who know that my time is not actually my own, even though it really largely is on a day-to-day basis. It really belongs to God. And I really want to figure out how best to honor him in this time. Because for years, and I have notes here in front of me, so I'm going to check them sometimes to keep myself on track, because I could ramble for a long time. But like for years, my obedience to God was already lined up for me. I had children who needed me to be obedient to God and teach them, because we were homeschooling them, right? So I already had, and even if you're not a homeschool mom, if you're at work, you have a schedule. You have a way to be obedient to God right there in front of you that you have to do if you want to keep your job. So I find myself in a unique position that is harder than I thought. I'm not complaining, like, don't get me wrong, it's great, but it's challenging because, and I said this in my very first video that I did, I could easily spend all my time making my life pretty. Making my house neat and tidy and making my garden beautiful and, doing that kind of thing, going to the gym. But I don't think that honors God in its entirety. Like, some obviously doing those things can honor God, but if that's all I'm doing is just focusing on my life and me, I think we are supposed to be poured out as a drink offering in service to other people. So, how I'm trying to do that is, I don't even think, like, every action you do doesn't have to be in service specifically to other people. So one of the things that I have set as a goal now that I do have this time freedom for myself is to learn how to do hard things by choice. I've done lots of hard things in my life, but never because I chose to push through and keep doing them. I would always just pick the things that came easily to me and do those things. So now I've decided that perseverance is something that I need to learn. So let me check my notes, make sure I'm on track, because, I really want to make a couple of specific points. So one thing is, I have found it really challenging to figure out what I'm doing, like what my big overarching role is now, because, my husband needs me a little bit through the day, but not a lot. So my big overarching role, what is it? And what should my life look like? And I think that as a woman in the age of social media, it's very easy to compare and to look at what's on Instagram or what's on wherever and see that I think my life should look like that, except that we never see a whole life, right? We see, even when you run into your friend in town, and we have, this inclination, I do anyway, to sort of compare, right? And I'm like, oh, your car's really clean. Oh, you have a really nice put together outfit. You had your hair done, and I maybe need to aspire to those things. And then I pile on, right? We pile on to that, right? Just because you have a clean car and a nice outfit, you must have a perfect house and a perfect marriage, and you must know what you're doing with all your time, and you honor God really well. Like I do. add on all these details that are not necessarily there. Maybe they're, they just cleaned their car and it's the only clean space in their world and they're enjoying it. We don't know that. So anyway, I think the first thing I need to do when I'm planning out what overarching goal I'm going to have here is really what is the bare bones minimum? What is it that you're trying to accomplish here? And if we're comparing to other people, then we're kind of aiming at an aesthetic, right? I want my life to look like that. And people will say that too. What do you want your life to look like? No, I don't want it to look like something. I want it to have a certain kind of impact, right? So I want to have a godly impact on those around me. Specifically, obviously, on my husband first, on my grown kids. If you have grandkids, top of the list, not top of the list, very high on the list, right? So I want to have an impact on my immediate circle. I want to have an impact on my church family. And then the wider world, right? I want to have an impact on the wider world. And I did actually struggle with that. Am I going to do a YouTube channel before I am spending enough time volunteering at my church? Well, I have to figure this stuff out anyway. So I'm just bringing you along on the journey in that sense. So I'm not trying to create a big impact out in the big YouTube world at the expense of having an impact in my smaller circle of community. So that's the journey I'm bringing you along on, because as much as we don't want to compare, we can get ideas from each other. So hopefully I can give you some ideas for how you can, roll into your impact when you are an empty nester, whether it's now or in the future. So that's my sort of thought about what your life looks like. So what I want my life to look like is to have impact, and how I'm trying to do that are these things. I'm trying to do hard things, first of all. Hard things that require staying power. That means I'm talking a long time. Hard things that require staying power, that require perseverance, and that are uncertain. So, because these are not things I've ever put up with, right? I've always been like, if it's uncertain or if it's really hard, I'll move on to something else. Thank you very much. So the Lord put it on my heart. No, you're going to learn to do something that you don't know how to do and that is hard for you. Partly that was because years ago, I watched my husband learn to play guitar, and I thought to myself, he is persevering way more than I ever would. And in hindsight, I really don't like that very much. I want to be a person who perseveres. So, new skills. I'm trying to learn some new skills. This is one of them. As you can see, I'm really not that good at talking to the camera and at doing YouTube. So that's one of the hard things. And the next hard thing, so that's YouTube, right? You're seeing me doing it. Hopefully, if you like what you see, you will join me and see me get better at it. But that's the first hard thing I want to do. The second one is, actually, I started a year ago, and it was because I am fairly isolated in my world, and I can't constantly, have coffee dates with my friends and be out with my church ladies. And, I live far away and we only have one car. So I don't always have access to just driving into town to have a direct impact on people. And so I thought, how can I have just a general impact on the world? How can I use this specifically for my community as well. So what I have done, started a year ago, was an Etsy shop where I create mostly, almost entirely Christian t-shirts for various different occasions. And I'm learning that too from the beginning. Did not know how to do that. And trying to just put out, the world needs more gospel truth out there generally, and we are walking billboards. If we're going to wear a brand name top, you might as well wear a top that says Jesus on it. So I started an Etsy shop. Again, partly just because it was hard and I didn't know how to do it. And I am not a designer. That is, my art skills, pretty basic. My computer skills, also fairly basic. So It just was a lot of things that I needed to learn, and I'm still learning, and I have no idea. That was another thing. Like I said, uncertainty, like I want to try these things that are uncertain. So the skill of running a successful Etsy shop, it has tons of small skills go into that. And I don't know if I'm going to be successful at that. I don't know if I'm going to make any money. I do know that the people who buy my shirts enjoy them, so I'm having impact on them. But as a business, I don't know if this is going to be successful, if I'm going to be able to make it successful. So business success is not guaranteed. That's the uncertainty part. But I'm willing to persevere in this because acquiring new skills, learning perseverance, being gracious with myself, and just learning new things about myself, those things are guaranteed from doing something that is really hard and outside your wheelhouse and doing it for a long time. So I'm a year into my Etsy shop. I'm not making money month over month, but I have made some money. So obviously people are enjoying what I'm making to some degree. And I said that I would do this for 2 years. So I have definitely wanted to back out more than one time and say that, that's enough. I don't want to do this anymore. But I said I would do it for 2 years. And that's another thing that I want to get better at is I said I would do it. So I did it. But both of these two hard things, YouTube as a hard thing and an Etsy shop as a hard thing, come with a built-in other hard thing, which is time management. And it's not just the YouTube and the Etsy shop. Being completely free in your schedule and having no demands on you is actually very hard to then make sure you put limits and demands on yourself to get the things accomplished that you want accomplished. And when I say you want accomplished, I mean the things that honor the Lord. And so I've tacked on these things, YouTube and Etsy, on top of, I do have some, responsibilities. We have chickens outside that need care. We have dogs that need care. We have a very large garden that we have turned into a cut flower garden in the last couple of years. It used to be a vegetable garden. That's a whole other story. But so I have time constraints that way. And now I've added YouTube and an Etsy shop, and keeping all of the other day-to-day running of a household, running of a life things in their rightful place is actually kind of hard. So that is my schedule is my third hard thing that I am tackling in this new season of impact, I'm calling it. That is this stay-at-home empty nester season. So yeah, 3 hard things. And I'm happy to have you along with me to just see how it goes. I hope you join me. I hope you continue and come back to my channel and see me get better at this and hopefully better at whatever I put my hand to in this crazy new wild season that I'm in. If you feel inclined, drop a note in the comments if you are in an empty nest season, if you know how to do it and you've got it down. If you're coming up to one and you're worried about it, just, give me a note in the comments and we can have a conversation about that. I would love to hear from you. And I know I didn't even introduce myself. So my name's Colleen. As you probably know, my channel is called Coffee with Colleen. I have my coffee here that is getting cold because I forgot about it. But I'll drink cold coffee. So anyway, I hope to see you back next time. Talk to you soon.